Hi, friends. Hi, listeners and viewers. Welcome to a very, very special and topical podcast episode. I'm talking about somebody whose bowling speed was much faster than Pranay Rangra goes to sleep when I write a bowling article. I'm talking about the majestic Dale Steyn, the magnificent Dale Steyn, the fearsome fast bowler, the spark of the Proteas fire, the one who took their game higher and higher. I'm not talking about the AC brand. I'm talking about a gem from the Proteas nation, and he's not an international cricketer anymore at this point in time. And I possibly could not have found a better guest to co-host this show with me, because the person on the other side of the screen is somebody who's wearing a black t-shirt, but his heart, recently he tested his heart, it was Proteas green, light green. So he imbues the Protean spirit. So Pranay,
Dev,
Dale
there's
Steyn,
a reason I wear black because today the great man has retired and it's a black day in cricket.
it's a black day in cricket, guys. It's a black
Yeah,
day. And
but we
soon Kimi
celebrate
Raikkonen,
legends. We don't like sort
yeah,
of feel sad when they retire because if there's
so
celebration and sadness also, that's a way of life.
very deep. So soon that Kimi Raikkonen will also retire. Is that the reason why I'm wearing a red t-shirt for Ferrari's last world champion? I didn't know. But this is the only t-shirt which mouse in my house has not torn away. So Pranay, over to you.
Uh, so guys, today actually our producer Gaurav Joshi is a bit under the weather, so we won't be able to put the music like we always do and the logo animation. Just bear with that. I think
Sure.
it's only befitting to be very natural, talking about a talent who's been so natural in his 15-year career. So Dave,
Yeah.
before we go into dissecting Dale Steyn, so Steyn in Hindi means dark. और मैं एक चीज बोलना चाहूंगा हमारे हिंदी मतलब हिंदी में बोलना चाहूंगा फॉर आवर सब्सक्राइबर्स आवर इंडियन सब्सक्राइबर्स दैट उसने 11 साल तक एक्चुअली पूरे अपने करियर में अपने चरित्र पे एक दाग नहीं लगने दिया एंड व्हाट आई मीन बाय दाग इज इंजरी एंड चरित्र इज इज longevity as a bowler. It was 11 years from the time he debuted that he was injury free. Yeah, he had one injury where he missed one test against India, but barring that, for 11 years, he's played non-stop cricket. That is testament to his fitness. और truly
Absolutely.
उसने एक दाग अपने चरित्र पे नहीं लगने दिया. ये उसकी longevity है.
Yeah.
So that is what I wanted to start this podcast with. Now over
This
to
is
you.
it's an interesting thing, because I was just researching and I just finished an article which I'm hoping won't bomb. Um,
You know, guys, before Dave
27.
talks about his articles, Dave is capable of writing those many articles as much as Dale Steyn has taken wickets in Test cricket. But because we are short on time, उतना करेगा नहीं.
2017 he sat out the entire year.
Yeah, because
Was that
2016 he sustained a shoulder injury against Australia, so he was out for 14 months, and he came back against none other than your favorite team, your second favorite team, India, when India toured South Africa
no,
in
India is my first
28.
favorite team.
But
I don't want my
BCCI, we
Aadhaar
love
card
you.
to be, I don't want my Aadhaar card to be cancelled. My first
So
favorite team is Israel, which doesn't play cricket right now actively.
so he came back in the first test against India in 2018 when Francois Duplessis was the captain. The start of 2018, and unfortunately, he could only get one wicket and he bowled 14 or 15 deliveries, and then he had a heel injury. And then again, he
Wow.
was out. And then he came back in the first test against Pakistan at the end of 2018, where he surpassed Sir Sean Pollock as the leading wicket taker
Sir
in Test
Sean Paul.
cricket
Yeah.
for South Africa.
Showed the thumbs up and got the
He
thumbs
showed
up
the
back in
thumbs up,
return.
and Sean Pollock had a bottle of wine ready for him, a bottle of champagne or a
Acha,
bottle of wine. Yeah, he showed that from the commentary box when Steyn did the thumbs up. He had that bottle of wine ready. I think post the first session, he gifted that to him.
wow.
So that was
So
remarkable.
tell me, jaldi se batao, what's your favorite Dale Steyn memory? What spell? He was known for hostile spells, right? And producing chin music for batsmen. Your
You
favorite
know, for
memory?
me, so it's a classic case that whenever someone goes down under, travels to Australia, it's always that the visiting team will be at the receiving end of sweet chin music from the likes of Brett Lee, from the likes of Mitchell Johnson, Sean Tate, Mitchell Stark, etc., etc. But when Dale Steyn went down under, he was the guy who was giving sweet chin music to the Australian batters. So does it
Right.
get better than that?
Cannot.
I mean, for me, it doesn't,
Absolutely.
because he's a guy who can bowl in all conditions.
Hmm.
You give him a
So
condition and he'll do justice.
he demonstrated just that at the Vidarbha ground, Nagpur.
Yeah,
I think it was 2010, 7 for 52 against us, India. And it wasn't a weak team. There was Dhoni, there was Tendulkar, there was, I think, Gambhir Sehwag as well.
there was the wall,
Um, no, the
or the wall
wall,
wasn't playing.
I don't think the wall was playing that match. I don't know why he wasn't. And but he did beautifully set up Dravid in the 2010 tour. So 7 for 52 was in February, and then India visited South Africa later that year, and he made Dravid made 25 or 68 before finding an unplayable delivery to which he could only offer catching practice to Mark Boucher, who I don't want to talk about much. I'm brown in my skin color, Mark Boucher. I'm sorry, I'm just light-hearted banter. He's a legend of the game, and when he got an injury to his eye, I was very sad. But Dravid, man, he was set up beautifully by Steyn. 5 deliveries in that over. I think got out on the 6th delivery of his over, if I'm not mistaken. 5 deliveries were all different. One was a yorker, one was a bouncer, one was around good length, and then this one was wide, just barely around the off stump, and then Dravid just nicked it, and he just couldn't get out of the way. So such was Dale Steyn. You know, the art of setting batsmen up, and
If you talk about thinking batters, Dale Steyn was a classic example of a thinking bowler,
yeah,
because he
absolutely.
actually thought the batsman through in the sense that I'll bowl short now. So then he'll go on the back foot. And then after that, I'll bowl a full delivery. He might go for the drive. And because of that, I can take the edge. So it takes a lot of acumen to think the batsman over and then get him out there. Because you'll have the likes of Sachin, Dravid, and all these guys thinking the bowlers over. But when you have a bowler thinking the batsman over, it's fantastic.
It's game over basically.
Yeah,
You had
game
an
over.
interesting point to make about Jimmy Anderson when I broke the news of his retirement to you on WhatsApp. Can you please explain it to our viewers?
So
Jimmy
Dave,
Anderson and Dale Steyn
yeah.
phenomena.
So guys, for me, Jimmy Anderson and Dale Steyn, I've always seen them as two stalwarts whose careers have pretty much been parallel to each other. And both have this one similarity, that both are very good swing bowlers. The only thing that Dale Steyn had an advantage over Jimmy Anderson was that he could swing at a much higher speed than Anderson. And for me,
Yeah.
the other thing where Steyn stood strong as compared to Anderson was that Steyn never got clobbered when he went down under. He could bounce. Yeah, he could actually work his way on those Australian bouncy tracks, also giving the Australian batters speech and music. Whereas Anderson was a little bit, make no mistake, he was a fantastic bowler when he went down under. But Steyn sort of had the edge. And for me, maybe some people might beg to differ, but had Steyn had the longevity as Anderson does, Steyn would have had more wickets than Anderson. That's a parallel that I think in my head it holds.
Well said, well articulated too. So you think Steyn would have
Had he
touched
not retired in
Anderson?
2019 and played for a couple of more years, I'm sure he would be somewhere close to 650 wickets by now. What is Anderson's tally? I think he's about 700, 650.
Well, it's important to remember above anything else that Anderson is 1,000 plus first class wickets. I think that's just,
Yeah,
it's a
that's
ridiculous
commendable.
number.
That's
It's just, I think it's, I don't know what, is his middle name Wine because he's getting better with age? I have no idea. But, so, I have this question and I've been thinking. So recently, the Pakistanis, they went to the Caribbean and Shaheen Afridi proved his worth. So Pakistan have Shaheen Afridi.
He's not Shine
India have,
Afridi, he's Shine Afridi, because he's always shining.
he's always shining. Shine Afridi, right. So Mr. Afridi, who's very shining, but with a face which is not a tribute to Clint Eastwood, because He's always making this face. I don't know what that is, but in lighter vein. So Pakistan had discovered Afridi, right? One
Yeah.
Afridi who doesn't lie about his age. Again, sorry, Pakistan, we love you. We have Bumrah who bowls 140 plus consistently. West
Can
Indies
I
have found Gil
can I crack
Christ.
another joke?
He's
Sorry, man. So
on a
this
black day.
guy,
Such a bad
He
ball.
was Shine Afridi, and the veteran Afridi was Shy Afridi because he was always shying away from telling his original age.
Okay, you can hit me with this one. So, England have Archer, of course, and Wood, and now Ollie Robinson, on which you wrote a brilliant article. Who
He took
does
a
South
5 wicket
Africa
haul in the last test also. Yeah.
Who does South Africa have, and who's better, Pretorius or Nokia, who's not related to Nokia, the company, by the way?
They for South Africa right now, it's a no-brainer that it's Kagiso Rabada. And there's another thing I would like to say that Kagiso Rabada harnessed his bowling skills under the able guidance of Dale Steyn. Because
Yes.
when Kagiso Rabada had debuted, I think this was against India in the Test series in 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
2016.
2015, yeah. The ill-fated Test series where Spain just like won us over. Versus South Africa, guys. BCCI still love you. Steyn was the strike bowler. He had Morkel. And then there was Kagiso Rabada. And whatever Kagiso Rabada is today in terms of pace, bounce, swing, accuracy, I think a large credit goes to Dale Steyn. So it's almost a seamless shift of the bowling mantle from Dale Steyn to Kagiso Rabada, at least in my view.
So now I'm not trying to be a cynic, but Rabada is brilliant, okay? And I think Dale Steyn, what we are going to miss, Pranay, is, correct me if I'm wrong, the game awareness that he had. He could
100%.
control things, he could seize the batsman in his mind. But Rabada is more expressive, he's a bit more volatile. I'm not talking about, the match, the one test match ban or something that happened to him,
Yeah.
2016-17 season. But does he have that potential to break into the 400 barrier, knowing well that Test cricket isn't really being played all that frequently in this age?
Dave, I would just correct you there. Test cricket is being played very frequently in this age. It's just that the big three keep playing against each other. Again, I'm sorry to the ICC for this, but it's a fact.
No, don't be sorry. It's a fact.
So South Africa might not play as many tests as say in India or Australia or in England play, but that doesn't mean that Test cricket is not being played that much. But yeah, for Kagiso Rabada, getting to 400 wickets will be slightly steeper as compared to what it was for Dale Steyn for sure.
Right.
But I think he's already reached about 214 or 215 Test wickets for Rabada, if I'm not mistaken.
Then definitely he can.
Yeah, and talking about his temperament, Dave, I think with age, he will get the better of his temperament and he won't lose his cool so much. Because if you remember, Dale Steyn also had those crazy eyes and he used to get so perturbed when he wasn't able to get his batters out. Almost it was like मैंने नजरों से ही उसको hold कर दिया. वैसा था उसका. But with time, he matured, and after that, I mean, he just a legend.
So if Dale Steyn were to be on this show, hypothetically, who would he rate more, Nokia or Pretorius, Dwayne Pretorius?
Dwayne Pretorius is an all-rounder, so I wouldn't put him in the same league as Nokia.
He's
but
fast.
I can he's about 130, but I can definitely make a comparison between Ngidi and Nokia. And for me, I would think that Nokia is the guy who has a lot of pace and a lot of bounce. So Steyn would guide him how to swing better. And for Ngidi, it would more be to control his line and length in a better way to get more batters out and concede lesser runs. So I think he can actually do wonders to both of them.
Well said. Well said. Another thing, the team to which he was born, in which he debuted, was one full of exuberant names and match winners: Jack Callis, De Villiers, Graham Smith himself. Pollock was also there when he debuted, Dale Steyn, versus the team which he leaves behind, one desperately looking to find more solidity and consistency. Um, what might be Dale Steyn's impressions right now that he has seen the glory years? and the decline, and now the rebuilding process? Would he be glad that there is a lot of hope in these talents, or would he feel that okay, the brightest chapter in our cricketing history is over?
Uh, so they when first things first, actually, I love Hope, who was part of West Indies, but hope for South Africa is definitely there. So when Steyn, De Villiers, Duplessis, Smith, Boucher, Carlos, the likes, they all retired. Amla, of course, Morkel. That was an end of an era, so to speak. It was like, it's the bastion that's sort of come to an end. And obviously, there's going to be rebuilding phase. But what I really liked is that the guys like Ngidi, Nokia, Rabada, they started upping their game when Steyn was still active. So they got that know-how from Steyn, or possibly even Morkel, and now they're trying to build the fast bowling attack, not to the level like it was with Intini, Carlos, Morkel, and Steyn, but at least they're trying to get there. So I think there, in a bowling sense, it's been pretty seamless. If I were Dale Steyn and if I were to make this analogy or this analysis rather, but from a batting perspective, I think South Africa has lost too much of good talent at one go, and
They
now
have.
it's completely in the rebuilding phase. And when you lose greatness all at once, it becomes really difficult to aspire to be as confident as those greats were,
Yeah.
if I made sense in that.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and
So the struggle is in the
their
batting more than bowling. I think.
hmm. Also their bench strength doesn't seem to be as wide as, for example, what countries like India produces. Like if you see right now, there are three different teams: one for T20,
Yeah.
one for tests, one for ODIs. And ODIs, there's a huge influx of talent. There's still Manish Pandey hanging around. Shreyas Iyer is still not in the team fully. Hardik Pandya has not started bowling, which is also his key strength apart from social media posts. But like, so I'm just wondering that, South Africa, are they suffering because of, I'm not saying because of dearth of talent, but the enormity of producing talent like that. And you rightly said that with so many grades going away, one after the other, the only man who was hanging out there was Faf and to a good extent Steyn until 2019. But
Yeah.
I don't know, is the search for the next big Dale Steyn going to perturb them? Is it going to lead them to finding somebody who's as skiddy as he's able at delivering Yorkers, bouncers? I don't know. Time will reveal. One thing is for certain: there's never going to be a second Dale Steyn. Because when Pollock and Donald exited the scene, in came a man who we never thought would actually even better Pollock. And you spoke about longevity. That's something which is often undervalued in a game that so beautifully sides with batsmen and so cruelly so.
Dave, the biggest reason that South Africa isn't being able to produce that kind of talent is I don't think enough money is being plowed at the grassroots level to get those kind of quality cricketers going. Because I feel India, England, and Australia actually plow back their finances brilliantly to nurture good talent. Somewhere South Africa is a bit lacking there. Obviously, the politics that plays around is something which dictates a lot of good talent that needs to come in. I mean, rather lack of dictation there. But let's not go there because that's quite controversial.
Are you aware of any role models that Dale Steyn had, or people who influenced this cricket positively?
I think he did really like Alan Donald and Sean Pollock. Uh, from in terms of other bowlers from other countries, I'm really not aware, but definitely Sean Pollock and Alan Donald were the guiding forces for it. In fact, Dale Steyn was at his peak when Alan Donald was the bowling coach, when Gary Kirsten was the head coach, and South
Excellent.
Africa took the mantle of the number one test team. Uh,
Great.
the trophy that the mace that Grant Smith held. It's a
Yeah.
memorable picture in my head. So nothing can
One
compare
of
to that.
one of the great uncanny memories of cricket is Steyn being lofted for that six by Grant Elliott in the 2015 semi-finals. But
I
here's the
know,
thing.
I know you would come there.
Here's the thing. Of his 196 ODI wickets, that very year in which he was ploughed for a huge six, he took 30 of his 196 wickets in that very year. Which is the point I'm trying to make, that often, actually too often, we are misled by a single imagery which
Yeah,
forms a particular conception in our mind, that
yeah.
Steyn on the ground and Elliott trying to raise him up, beautiful picture of sportsmanship. But people thought 2015 was like, must have been a poor year. This guy took 30 wickets, 30 ODI wickets. His economy was under 5. That's what I loved about the guy, that he had that pace and control. He too often, starting 2017 onwards, went for one run too many. But what to do, yeah? What I liked about him was also something which, correct me if I'm wrong, proved to be his undoing a bit. He was a true worshipper of speed. So even after 2012-13, when he remodeled his action, he never took an ounce of pace away from his action. So if he was bowling a bit fuller, which he wasn't earlier, he went for a bit too many runs often, because he didn't curtail his speed. He stuck to it. So that's something. That's the sign of a consummate athlete, who's not willing to
So,
be substandard. And to me, the greatest bowl ever bowled by Dale Steyn is the one which never fetched a wicket. It's
which
funny.
was
2010, it was a delivery in 2010 bowled to Kyron Pollard, who was not the captain. A much younger Kyron Pollard, 24, 25-year-old Kyron Pollard back then. This was in ODI in 2010. South Africa were there. De Villiers was there. Um, Smith was there. Steyn was there. He bowled a Yorker, which was pitched in the air around the legs, except it came and fell right under Pollard's bat on the middle stump. And there was like a 15-degree turn, which only Steyn could have managed. That ball never
and
got any runs, never
the
got
ball
any
missed the
wickets.
stumps.
It just, Pollard was just able to
Yeah,
put the bat to, just enough to defend his stumps. That ball never fetched a wicket, but it was an unplayable delivery. Unplayable delivery. I don't know how he never got a wicket. That to me was Dale Steyn, कि आप leg stump target कर रहे हैं, and suddenly the ball comes on the middle stump when it lands. So that was Dale Steyn. He was always expecting, rather enhancing the expectations that people had of him, and rightly so. 439 wickets may seem a few under 500, but it's 439 wickets, yeah. It's more than Curtly Ambrose's tally, right? It's a ridiculous number.
you should look
And
at it
when
as
you add
439 plus 190 odd ODI wickets plus about 64
196,
T20,
yeah,
196 plus 64 T20 wickets.
yeah,
That's fantastic.
that's a remarkable tally to end with, man. It's remarkable.
Sometimes luck showers on you so much that you become unlucky.
Actually,
But Dave, you talking about speed. So when he called it quits on Test cricket in 2019, I don't know whether you know this. He came back to play the T20s against England in 2020 after that horrid Test series that South Africa faced. So there he made a conscious effort, and in fact, I think he made a statement also that right now I'm not going to gun for speed, but I'm going to gun for cleverness. I'm going to gun for changes. I'm going to gun for slower balls. I'm going to gun for deception. And he actually
that's
did
all.
that. I mean, if you saw him bowl then, every ball was not the same. Like there was so many change-ups. It was remarkable. But unfortunately, he couldn't reach the level where he expected to be at that point in time. So that was sad. But yeah, that was the coming of age of Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. There was also this IPL game, and none of us are huge fans of that format, any which ways, let alone the league. But truth be told, that moment when he bowled that over to AB de Villiers, yes, he
Yeah,
went for runs, 23 of them. But he appreciated AB de
playing
Villiers.
for
He
the
was
Deccan
clapping.
Chargers, right?
Yeah, Deccan Chargers
Yeah,
versus
yeah, I
RCB.
remember this. I remember.
He was clapping for the guy who hammered him. That is South Africa. That's the
100%.
thing which makes South Africa, man. You know, it's also a bit similar to how the West Indians embrace each other whilst playing the CPL. Like recently, Dwayne Bravo went against the decision to do the mankading on another batsman. It was actually Hafiz of Pakistan, and he hugged him instead. So these are larger than life moments. I beg your pardon, that make cricket what it is. And kudos to Dale Steyn. Well, you are bowling to AB de Villiers full. What is going to happen at the end of the day? But the fact that he had no vitriol, no contempt, but pure admiration, that was Dale Steyn. That's what we're going to miss, man.
Speaking about AB de Villiers, Dave, I should tell you this, that the only other guy who remained injury-free for so long, barring Dale Steyn, was AB de Villiers. I think they both debuted in the 2004 England series when England toured South Africa. And from then till, I think, in the between 2010 and 2020, till the time de Villiers played, I didn't see him get injured ever.
Yeah.
So just he finally called it a day.
Yeah.
Which he does, and then he doesn't. So let's not go there. But having said that, who was Dale Steyn's first wicket? You want to take a guess there?
Marcus Trescothick.
That's right. And that was a peach of a delivery, man. It castled his stumps. Yeah.
He also took the wicket of Simon Jones and forgetting the other guy, Michael Vaughan in that very
I think
match.
so. Yeah.
Michael Vaughan, the captain. Yeah, I remember that game. I remember it clearly. In India, these games are broadcasted from the afternoon, so it's still bearable. Unlike South Africa touring the West Indies, for you and me to be awake till 3 a.m, and you to tell me that Nkrumah, Bonner, and Roston Chase haven't been able to chase their glory. Shit. But yeah, man, there's so. Do you think he's gonna be a commentator? I don't know. I've never heard him speak that much. Will he? Is he a talkative guy?
He does come in as an expert on some podcasts. I don't know, but I'm sure that he'll continue to do his surfing, man. That keeps his sanity going.
Tell me more about it. So he's a.
But Dave,
guy
before we get into surfing, there's just this one accolade that I would like to bring to your notice as well as all the viewers or listeners. Dale Steyn is the only guy who has been the number one test bowler for 263 weeks.
What?
Yeah, from 2008 to 2014. I'll tell you who's the closest competition. The closest competition is Muttiah Muralitharan, who's held this mantle for 214 weeks. See the gap. 263 plays 214. From 2008 to 2014, this guy was the number one test bowler.
Steyn gun.
If that's not remarkable, I don't know what is.
I'll tell you something which is remarkable. Craig Brathwaite making 97 runs when no other West Indian batsman touched 60 in this recent series. But anyways, 263 weeks, man, that's nuts. That's just.
But Craig Brath really waits to make good innings on that support.
He's the only one who's been trying. Was there ever a spell in which he taunted the West Indians, which you found very funny, in which the West Indians were really clueless?
I'm sure I don't think he was a man of words. He was a man of expression. If the expression is a taunt, then I'm sure that there were taunts happening. And plus, he's a guy who always believed that my bowling will speak for me. So I really don't need to use words. And I respect such bowlers.
No, I sometimes wonder if, so
he would have the occasional word, I'm sure, but mostly it was the expression and the performance.
Yeah, he was never a sledger any which ways. He never had time.
South Africans are not sledgers by nature, Dave.
Yeah.
I think that's more of an Australian phenomena, and now the fingers that are.
Good one, clean bowl. That was York. So I completely forgot what I was trying to say. It's so witty.
Sorry, man.
What was I saying? So now we've heard that he is going to be plying his trade in these T20 leagues around the world. And then you were saying he has other passions and pursuits. For example,
he's a big time surfer. Like during the lockdown, also he used to take time when he used to be at the Cape Town beach surfing.
So does it professionally or just for passion?
No. So there are two things which he does for passion. One is surfing and one is skating with a skateboard. I think these two things just keep his sanity good.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think in these coastal countries, surfing anyways is a very big thing. Like places like Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, find a lot of surfers there for staying even during his playing days. Just to take a break from the game, he used to go surfing. Like there are a lot of South Africans who like being in the bush to take a break on the braai. Braai is the South African barbecue, the likes of De Kock and other players. But for Stain, it was surfing, or rather, is surfing. Yeah.
Somebody with a perfect chiseled physique to fit into any rugby team, at any point of time in the day, and the fact that he would run so fast, I'm just speculating that maybe that could have also been a
You
career
know, on his
option. But
worst day, they will beat us by I don't know how many kilometers, and that day could possibly be our best.
yeah, that's true. That's true. It's pretty much like that Owen Wilson challenging Usain Bolt in that 100-meter run. When he starts running even before the gun is fired.
In fact, his locks
So
also are pretty much like Owen Wilson now. Yeah. The long locks.
who's
Dale Steyn, have you seen him recently? He has these long locks now.
I could
Yeah.
never get my mind to focus on anything else except Raheem Cornwall's batting yesterday and then the long locks of Imran Tahir, who became Jim Morrison with the bandana and long hair and just put a guitar in that hand, take away the white ball. As Jim Morrison Tahir for you. He just changed
Jim
religion. He
Morrison.
married religion. Jim Tahir, Imran Morrison. Anyways, um, so which of the current bowlers, apart from South African team, do you think are capable of touching the Dale Stainness when it comes to greatness?
Yeah, surely, I think the two from Australia, rather three from Australia that I see will do wonders. Rather, they are already doing. I'm sure you know the names: Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummins. So
Cummins, yes, yes.
they're fantastic with what they do. And I see Tim Southee and Trent Bolt definitely being in that league to achieve greatness. And I am
Tim
mightily
Southee
impressed with, Tim Southee sort of reminds
would never
me
be
of Dale
feared by
Steyn.
batsmen.
He's not being feared, but I mean, batsmen don't fear him, but the kind of swing he gets and the way he castles your stumps when you least expect them to be castled is something. And I think Stain's favorite beer is Castle Lager.
I was just thinking of that. The number of times we've seen him
Telepathy.
just rush through that, advertisement on the cricket ground saying
Yeah.
Castle Lager.
True.
That
So I think we
was
should
some
make our
very
Indian viewers also
funny,
happy.
funny.
I think Bumrah is also going to achieve greatness at some point. So,
He's already great. And he's
yeah,
achieved a lot of greatness because the ICC has put so many show reels of him and his wife and, their happy holiday moments. This is cricket content, by the way. And it's not
Stein
Indian
is,
Cricket League as yet. It's still International Cricket Championship Committee, whatever.
Stein is great in surfing and Bumrah is great because of the keyboard surfers.
The internet surfing in which you don't have to wear a costume to surf the internet. This is so amazing, man. What Bumrah, you're brilliant, man. That action, I don't know how. No, honestly, no jokes. How
But at
does he
some point,
generate
I'm
that
sure they
amazing
will be figured out by batters. Malinga was also figured.
Yeah, Malinga, honestly, and this is not going to, this is not going to make any viewer happy. I don't consider him a legal bowler. I've never ever considered him a legal bowler. I've got no problem with his hairstyle. He can, he can go do whatever, that action. If that action is legal, then I'm Madhuri Dixit. That's it. I was in Khalnayak. I was in that song. I seduced Sanjay Dutt in that song. That action is not legal, and I'm not going to believe any kind of nonsense of that. So many. You can't just pause and then sling from. Why don't you develop a high arm action? Yeah, why don't you just do that? So you've incited me on the wrong subject, which is why on my website I never allow any article on Malinga. Autocratic that it may sound. At least I will never write an article. You want to write, you write. Never show that article to me. He is not a legal bowler. All of his wickets, and I was happy when Kohli belted him for runs in 2012-13 season in Australia. He kept on chucking, kept on bowling Yorkers, but Kohli did find a way to harass him. I was so happy. And he's a good guy. Personally, Malinga is a very good guy. He also realizes that his hairstyle is funny, his entire personality is funny, he has a heart of gold. But that bowling action, man, I am not willing to buy it. Coming back to Steyn, I
I
have
think
to
heart and chest of gold.
yeah. Two questions. Would the likes of Lara have figured out Dale Steyn had they met on the field? Because Lara was from a different era. Sachin
You know,
played
they
Steyn. Lara.
speaking about Lara. Remember in the last podcast you talked about the 2003 World Cup when Lara castled a century. So it's
Yeah.
ironical. I was watching the highlights of that game and remembering that podcast and just thinking to myself that if Steyn was bowling to Lara, would it have been any different? Uh, but you know, I think
Then he would have created problems for
it
Lara.
it
Yeah.
it depends on who's in a better frame of mind on that particular day. Because Lara is as great as any batter, and Steyn is as great as any bowler. So it's just that who's having a better day that day is what it all comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it'll be epic, man. If like Steyn was bowling
Would
to
have been
Lara,
fantastic, yeah.
I would love to see one cover drive, and then I would love to see the stumps cast. I think I would get my money's worth.
You know, there could be a possibility, because I want to congratulate the those who conceptualized the road safety series, Pranay, because
Yeah,
at least they
yeah.
brought back Sachin, Lara, these
100%,
guys.
100%. Beautiful.
South Africans too, Jonty Rhodes, man, he's back.
Yeah.
Kevin Peterson, these legends. If they can get Steyn, and Steyn finds that 140, 130 line, 135 speed, and Lara on
Why
strike,
not? Why not? Yeah.
it would be brilliant. Our friend Prashant Kumar Manjare would be the first to rush to the stadium. Raipur. He went there and Lara came and met him, by the way. He left
Wow.
everything. He was practicing and he came and he said, "Hi, Prashant, I'm here." Anyways, so do you remember any particular battles between our Indian cricketers, our Indian batsmen, and Steyn? Like Sehwag was very harsh on him when Sehwag hit his triple century against South Africa. Or was it the
In that
291?
ODI, I think
No,
it
no,
was
no,
in
no.
Gwalior. No? No?
Yeah,
Was this
the
in a
ODI.
test
Yeah.
or?
No, in a
Okay.
test match. It was, I think
Okay.
it was Ntini who he hit for one run too many. But I don't
Okay.
remember if that test match had Steyn. But I remember there was one contest where Sehwag was giving it left, right, and center, and Steyn was just flummoxed that he kya hua. But any other any episodes where Indians were found struggling against Dale Steyn? A spell that you remember, or for that matter, any other team?
You put me in a spot because as of now, nothing is striking me. But I'm sure there would have been a lot of moments here. And surely I would be happy if there were moments where he would be getting the better of the likes of Kohli and others. But if he would have got the better of Dravid, I think I would feel a little sad.
Yeah, he did get the better of Dravid, and he was also going through a bad patch back then. And I remember Steyn really challenging Pujara and Kohli both in the
But you know, when Dave, when you
2013.
speak about Steyn and how he performed against India, I think he was the only South African who managed reverse swing in India,
Yes,
if I'm
I
not
would want you to
mistaken.
elaborate more on
Because
this.
yeah, because the thing is that he really knew how to shine one side of the ball. And when conditions were not favoring seam bowling on the low and slow pitches, he still managed to pass on the Indian batters. So that was something. And I think somewhere Moni Morkel also learned a bit of reverse swing from Beasley. So yeah. And I think
Moni
right now, I
Morkel
think
and Steyn, I mean, they were,
Ngidi is the only guy who manages some reverse swing for South Africa.
yeah. Ngidi, I don't know what it, for example, hypothetically again, if he were to talk to Steyn, I think one of the areas he would want to cover would be the expensive economy rate. He's far more
100%.
expensive than any fast bowler
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
And that's, if he solves that
Because
area, then he can become very dangerous.
Ngidi
Because
tries to
he's
do a little too much with every ball, so that's why he needs to get some control going. Especially in T20 cricket, if you see his economy rate is quite
oh,
yeah. So is in fact when you talk about economy between Rabada or Nokia and Ngidi, Nokia is possibly the best in all formats because he has this way of controlling runs. Even Rabada goes for a bit too many, but then he sort of negates that with wickets. So it doesn't matter.
yeah. And they both were amongst a lot of wickets on the recent Caribbean tour, and they
You know, there
created
was
a lot of
this
havoc.
there was this series where I think after Steyn was contemplating retirement from Test cricket in 2018, South Africa had travelled for a 3-match ODI series down under the able leadership of your favorite Francois du Plessis. And guess what the South African pace attack was? There was Dale Steyn, there was Kagiso Rabada, and there was. And I remember in the first match, I think it was at Perth or Brisbane, I don't remember one of those grounds. Australia was castled for all of 141. And Steyn on that day, Steyn and Ndidi were brilliant. Simply brilliant. Australia didn't know what hit them. And that was the attack. If you remember, at that point, I wrote an article also where I felt that this should be the attack that should be taken to the World Cup. With Imran Tahir being the spinner. But unfortunately, Steyn got injured.
Yeah.
He missed another opportunity.
All of this makes me believe, Pranay, that we've seen. I mean, I can no longer relate to. I have to, because it's my job now to write and create content. It's very difficult to come up to terms with the fact that the likes of Waqar, Ambrose, Wasim, Walsh, Wasim Akram, rather, I'm saying Wasim as if he's my best friend. But even Srinath, these great bowlers, Shane Bond, Lee Akhtar, and now Pollock Donald, and of course Dale Steyn retiring. We've seen the best, haven't we? That one era after another, producing so many legends. It's very difficult to now. Neil Wagner is somebody I genuinely enjoy watching, and Shannon Gabriel.
Another South African talent lost to New
Zealand. Lost to New Zealand. And Shannon Gabriel when he's not bowling no balls, with a bit of a pun, but I can't stomach the fact that these great guys are not there, and now this new generation is taking over. And I refuse to believe that they would be able to breach the Murli 800 wickets, Kumble 600 plus wickets. Who's going to reach that level, man? Like even spinners, Shane Warne. I mean, Tabraiz Shamsi, his rise in the last 1.5 years, to be precise, has been phenomenal. I'm not saying before that he wasn't good, but he's been exceptional in the last 12, 15 months. 100%. He's one.
That's got him an IPL contract also with the Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, Ashwin is brilliant. He's making a second wind, and with his recent century, he's making a strong case as a very correct batsman. But we've lost that creme de la creme of fast bowlers. Yeah, they're not there anymore. They're not
fast bowlers and spinners for that matter. I think the magnitude of excellence or the peak of excellence that those guys of that brilliant and era aspired to go to, I think it's found a little wanting in today's bowlers. But maybe they have their own milestones, benchmarks that they set.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of how difficult either of us finds accepting T20 cricket and greatness in it, it's still a forum of adaptation. It's still a forum of adaptability, rather. More agricultural shot making. We're seeing so many strokes that have come out of nowhere. But I don't know what is there for the bowlers. Yeah, I mean, even if Dale Steyn would have played a decade long of T20 cricket, let's say if he would have played 120, 130 T20 matches, I don't know if he would have retained the mysticism and the mystery in fast bowling by exposing himself so much in T20 cricket, which is the fear that runs me down every time I think of all these people. Like now, Wanindu Hasiranga, he can be a great all-rounder for Sri Lanka. Yeah. He's been signed up by RCB, and he's really a mystery bowler. I mean, not the mystery of Sunil Narine, because there was no mystery. He was found chucking thrice, and he's still continuing to bowl. Every time he chucks, ICC agrees on his remolded action. Then again he chucks.
उस बेचारे का नारायण हो गया.
तो क्या कह रहा? So that's the thing. Hasaranga, if he succeeds in this IPL, of course there's another contract coming up. So for batsmen is fine, but bowlers, the flip side is you get found out. Yeah, you get.
And do you think with the influx of T20 cricket and rather too much of T20 cricket, are bowlers trying too much, and in that they're losing their original whatever they were good at, they're losing that charm or that charisma to try out a bit too much.
Of course, because the wickets are produced in a way to provide entertainment. I
Yeah.
mean, entertainment of the kinds which has led us to see the latest IPL ad. Have you seen it?
Thankfully
Just
not.
please, just please see the ad and explain me Dhoni's hairstyle and his costume. How could a man of that stature agree to be in that commercial? I don't care if BCCI bans me, but Dhoni, this is what are you doing in the name of promoting the game? Like honestly, on one hand, there is the bravado and nationalism by wearing the those gloves worn by the Indian Army, that imprint of the I don't know, and then you have to see this IPL ad and then taunt me later that why did I waste a few seconds of your life?
I
And
think
I
the
mean, I have no
five-letter
choice,
word dictates everything that we do in our life.
which is
Money.
yeah, oh, of course, yeah. How could I not
So
get it?
you can't put
Yeah,
any
I can
rational
never.
or any rational thinking to that. So maybe
Hmm.
that's the case.
I can never imagine Rahul Dravid to be in such a costume, or Yunus Khan, or
But you know, Dave, with all
Misbah,
due respect, we never imagined him to do that cred ad also. But,
Indra Nagar ka Gunda.
exactly. So
Yeah,
you
I don't
never
know
know,
what.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least he was still wearing a normal shirt and jeans. But this ad you have to see, and Dhoni's hair color, which can give Hardik Pandya some fashion goals. This is from the Ranveer Singh school of thought, my role models of life. These are people who I'm born to serve. Anyways, so any parting words on Dale Steyn now that we've spoken on every single cricketer apart from Steyn for the last 2 minutes?
You know, so Dave, I would just like to end the podcast with these words that there are cricketers, they're everyday cricketers, and then there are legends. When everyday cricketers retire, they just call it a day. But when legends retire, they reach immortality. And one guy has just done that today afternoon, at whatever time the announcement happened. And he'll be remembered till the end of time.
He shall absolutely be, sir. To the Steyn gun of fast bowlers, to a batsman who could make a few runs down the order when needed, to a person who never really
Yeah,
considered
his
too
six
many
hitting ability was
well.
fantastic, dude. Have you seen?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
used
very
to
underrated. That's why I'm saying.
join the fast bowlers for sixes. And a
Never had
very
any
unorthodox stance, huh? Like
Yeah,
it was almost like he was holding the Gada of Hanuman. The way he used to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
that was
something
brilliant.
which could inspire Courtney Walsh in the next birth if he is born as a bowler who then wants to be a successful tailender. So my parting words to Steyn is that Steyn gun has put the machine down not because it ran out of bullets, but because it wanted others to fire up the opponents, or rather gun
Wow.
down the opponents. So thank you for this beautiful episode. It was funny. It was enigmatic. It was true. It was honest. It came from your heart. And
It came from
Dale
our
Steyn
hearts,
has
Dave.
done it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it did. It did, and more in the other episodes. And guys, don't forget we are coming out with a very special episode of Correct Point tomorrow. It's going to be a first time where we speak to a person who's associated with cricket, but in a very unique way. You will get to know this tomorrow. So until then, thank you, Pranay. Thanks, our viewers, and good night.
Thanks, Dave. Guys, please do check out the descriptor of this video. Dave is going to be putting two very intriguing articles on the great man. Please be sure to read them. And till we come back with another episode tomorrow, this is Dave Tyagi and Pranay Ranga signing off. Cheers, guys.
Hey, guys. Thank you.